Hello and welcome on another demo which we delayed by one day. I'm really sorry. I got too distracted on Monday, but I hope we will share something interesting today. So let's begin with updates from Mr. Zans. Mr. Zans, would you tell us what have you done and how was the week?
Um, I'm currently doing PLP and PDP and doing it simultaneously since there are a lot of shared components between them. Uh, Prop validation was originally done in child components, so now we have to move it to uh, upper components and put the proper styles, not to relay them as undefined and check on components down. But now all plugins will that will be created on the upper components, on the higher level components, will know exactly what data is exactly passed to it and how to handle it. Current work routine looks like going back and forward and rewriting types because the code is very twisted and some data are added to the existing objects dynamically. Uh, so we know about this very late when we already defined the type and passed it as proper drilling to other components. Also, there are a lot of issues with dynamic code, like when we parse URL params in order to get some data, for example, for filters, and then we serialize it back to URL string. And sometimes we have such issue like the data is always an array of string, and at some point it becomes an array of string where it can be a boolean or number value, and then again it is just an array of string, and this is very confusing. But I believe I need about a week to fix everything related to PLP and PDP.
Great, sounds great, very good. So this is the updates from Jean. So Jean says you might have understood, still working on PDP and PLP, and we really hope that he will finish this week, as you might have heard on the previous session. We said the same, but unfortunately the code is indeed twisted and it's not as straightforward as we hoped it to be. So maybe Aleksandrs Kondratjevs has something interesting to tell us, maybe something more positive.
Hi. So yeah, previous week I started from actually updating the root component. So going out through the roots that it holds in itself, and yeah, basically updated the component router and in itself that before items that are actually rendered. For example, that's notification lists, header, navigation tabs, stuff like that. So yeah, there was investigation in the how it works the header, because there is three components that are really depending on each other. That's navigation abstract, that's navigation tabs, and header. So yeah, basically started from navigation abstract, obviously, that because that's the top level of extending. It's header and navigation tabs extending from the navigation abstract. And yeah, successfully migrated it, made all the changes, and looks good. Went through the header components that are also migrating, migrated them, and only stays in the header that's search field that is also migrated, but the search overlay that also contains, I didn't touch it because to not just conflict with John's work right now, so that because it contains the products, basically. Yeah, so to not make any mistakes out there, so that John will need to fix it later. Same as after that, I moved a bit the forms because it's very important right now. Forms are really, really, really important in this moment because, for example, my account is still the last leaves that is like the last node is still not finished because it's rather some forms. And to make it, it's very important to make the form by itself, so like from the top level of the component. And yeah, forms. What to say? First of all, dynamic components, that's cool, but it's not cool to migrate them to TypeScript. there's a problem, because if JavaScript allows us to make a lot of stuff with the typing, I mean, like we can accept that, for example, we are rendering fields. That can be input field, that can be a select field, that's whatever. And the thing is, the dynamic component by itself, it can contain the attributes that are in the future are spread into those elements. And the problem is that, for example, we need to type those attributes. For each element, it has its own scope of the attributes. For example, the checked property doesn't exist in the select element, but exists in the input element, for example, yeah. And yeah, that's a problem, because in this case, we need to unify those attributes, the scope of the attributes, and then say to each element which kind of attributes it is, what kind of attribute scope it is. And it makes a bit of typecasting, which looks not good, but we stayed as it is right now because we're not refactoring forms. It's good to make them separately. For example, we can actually make for each component its own, for each element its own component that's going to be like rendered. I mean, we can say that exactly out there is going to be those kind of attributes, those kind of events, stuff like that. But right now, no. Right now they're dynamically rendered, and yeah. But it's going to be fixed anyway in the near future when we're going to be migrating the forms. And so right now, the main goal to make them at least autocomplete correctly, the attributes, the events, all the stuff that goes out there, so that when developer is going to be writing down the attributes for the element that he wants to render, it's going to help him, that the ID is going to help him that what kind of attributes there exist. Like TypeScript knows, TypeScript is going to like assist a bit.
Father knows.
Yeah. And again, basically, right now, there's also problems. For example, we have been making forms, and there was a property called ref. Yeah. And it looks from the beginning very misleading. Like ref, that's React ref object, and like when I just started making the refs from the bottom, actually not from the top, from the container. And I was thinking like, okay, there should be a ref. All the logic should be contained in the refs in this case. No. The problem is that the component then calls back the function that sets the refs and its element, not the ref. And now there begins the problem that it's just misleading from the beginning. But yeah, that's all fixed anyway, which is good. Also, basically, yeah, near those few days, I'm gonna be finishing it, all the forms, I guess, at least in my account, and forms that are like, I mean, the main components, and the forms, and not touching the code checkout right now, because that should be done with the products, I guess.
Sure.
And basically, there was a few more problems appeared. It's usually some problems with extending. For example, overlay, that's a component, that's a one component that is extending from, for example, pop-up is extended from overlay. Some other components extended from overlay. And there's appears some problems with TypeScript that's essentially with the Redux. That when the connect function tries to move all the props together, there's appears some issue with it, and we still didn't know exactly how we can fix it as a proper fix. But we found a solution for it, and it takes the correct fun properties right now. It takes the auto-completion, but still it looks not perfect. And maybe in the near future we're gonna find out how to fix it. So that's most likely all from my side.
Amazing. Just like a little confession, this is on me. I'm generally bad at using graphs in React, so that's me naming the variables incorrectly. And sorry everyone for those 2 years of misleading namings. Hopefully now this will be resolved, and I'm very happy that we are doing this overview and migration of the project, because it really helps to uncover all the problems that we have with it and see that the application is not perfect and there is a lot of stuff that we can do and what can we improve. And as smart people say, if there are a lot of problems, then we are definitely moving forward and progressing. So I'm very happy to see a lot of problems popping up. And yeah, I'm very happy that we are working on resolving them. I'm sure that I knew the TypeScript migration will not wasn't going to be an easy path, but it's turning out to be even more twisted than I originally expected. So that's a good thing. That's a good thing, and I'm really happy. We have another member today joining us, and this is Aleksandr Rifkins. Yeah, now we have two Aleksandrs on a call. So Aleksandr Rifkins is the maintainer and creator of Create Magento app. And Create Magento app, as you might have heard or might have not heard, is the very helpful utility tool that sets you up with Magento environment for multiple versions, and it supports automatic ScandiPWA installation and linking, and some other cool stuff like linters, like caching, running efficiently on Mac computers, because yeah, it's super interesting stuff. You should better visit the website or check out the presentation that I've made. I will drop the link to presentation in the description of this video, but Aleksandr is constantly working on making sure this product evolves and improves. So let's hear some updates from Aleksandr on his progress over the previous weeks. So Aleksandr, please.
Yeah, thanks, Alfred. So, last week I started working on improving Magento performance. As you might know, we didn't have varnish cache and other cache technologies. That's why, for example, just loading the page without anything cached in the past took like 30 seconds. Now it will be like 20.
Yeah, that's quite a
Already
huge
better.
improvement. Quite a huge improvement.
Yeah, and with the cache, from 5 seconds we are dropping to 2 seconds. And this is not how fast DOM is loading, it's even faster. It's how much time it is taken to load all the files. So, yeah.
What technologies will we
Also-
include exactly? So it's varnish and some other cache types on PHP FPM level. So yeah,
We are enabling varnish for Magento caching.
yeah.
Plus, we enable PHP APC and PHP op cache.
Okay, yeah, and we
Technologies.
ensure that timestamps are invalidated on
Yes.
file updates.
Yes.
Cool.
Yes.
Cool.
Always.
So maybe something you can tell us about another feature that I've heard or I have recently announced, the linters for PHP automatically configured in PHP Storm, because this was a feature like I have seen nobody actually configuring them over my lifetime span, which was super sad, but I think finally we got it automated. So can you tell us more? What tools are we now providing and what configurations we are using for them?
Yeah, sure. So last week I released an alpha version, which included automatic install of PHP code sniffer, PHP code sniffer fixer, PHP mess detector, style lint and ESLint linters in setup. But there is one thing. They will be set up only if you have empty .ide folder.
So only from
IDE is-
scratch, yes?
Yes, when
Okay.
your project is just started, you run Magento app, it will create all the configs and you keep those configs in the Git history
Cool.
and you will edit them as needed.
Mhm.
But the thing is that you will have set up from the day one.
Nice.
Yes.
Another thing I wanted to mention, that this is not the first time we are tweaking the PHP config with Create Magento app. We are currently also supporting the automatic Xdebug configuration in PHP Storm. So you can just open your PHP Storm and debug Create Magento app. and you will have all these server and listeners set up. And the same goes for the database. So PHP Storm has an amazing built-in database, and it's sometimes very tedious to find all of those passwords and enter them in manually. So Create and Magento app actually provides them automatically and configures PHP Storm to use them. So yeah, it's quite a deep integration. And as I said, I'm using Create Magento app like daily now, and I run like multiple projects at a time. And that's another cool feature that we support. Create Magento app can handle multiple projects on different ports running on your computer, and it will automatically choose free ports and allocate stuff there. So yeah, that's just an amazing thing, and you should definitely try it. I'm always so bad at describing something when I feel happy about it, because I tend to say too much good stuff. Maybe because of that, let's cover this a little bit with some bugs that we have fixed, because we know this product is not perfect. Can you tell us about what bugs are you fixing, or have you fixed last week and you are about to work on?
Okay, so last week I fixed a very annoying bug that we recovered from analytics, that sometimes users just don't have Docker running. It is installed, but it is not running. So now Magento will check if Docker is running on Linux and Mac, and prompt you to start it.
Definitely,
Great.
that's a cool stuff. And why Alexandra is highlighting the Mac here, because while on Mac, the starting Docker is not as simple as it is on Linux. So this is an amazing integration, and I'm really happy that we support Macs. And I'm currently running it on Mac with M1 chip. So for me, it's a lifesaver. I don't think I could have achieved the same with any other approach, at least in that short period of time. What else can you tell us about the bugs? Maybe something to be fixed or something else?
Okay, so currently I'm working on fixing theme build status. Like when you start your Create Magento app, you have theme installed, ScandiPWA theme, but for some reason it is not builded. So when start command is finished, you are prompted with the browser. Browser is opened. There is an error. Magento theme, ScandiPWA root HTML file is not found.
Yeah.
Not great. Now I'm making it so on each start it will also check your themes, and if you have ScandiPWA theme and you don't have ScandiPWA root HTML file somewhere deep dive in the generated folder, it will generate it. Well, just build the theme.
Cool. That's cool. That's cool. So we're working on multiple bug fixes, not just that. We're also planning to add automatic Docker installation on Mac, because that's sometimes very strange that you like kind of, oh, I want to run this app, and then you need to go get the Docker app, try to set it up. So we will try to automate this process as well. There are a lot of other things we are taking in from the analytics, and that's another cool feature of Create Magento app. We are tracking the global analytics of all the usage of Create Magento app users, and we can see all the problems that users face, and this enables us to make the setup more robust over time. So this is a long-term commitment that we are taking here, and this is a thing that is kind of impossible on any other solution. Like if you go for a Docker setup or stuff like this, it would be very complicated to collect issues. Our solution enables the global issue collection, so we can plan and fix them. Cool.
And
yeah.
and very important to note that users always have an option to opt out of analytics. This was built when the analytics was introduced. Just so you know.
Yeah, please don't opt out, otherwise we won't be able to
we
fix
need
your
more
issues.
to work on.
Definitely, yeah. So let's get to updates from my side. And this week was, last week was actually very productive in terms of creation of something new. And what I'm referring to is actually the marketplace. So the new marketplace was finally launched, and let me share you the screen so I can tell you a little bit more about that. So this is not the right window, this is the right window. So here's the new marketplace, and new marketplace is very similar to the last one, but now it has all of these curated extensions which are assured of quality and specifically made by me and the team which I manage. This means I'm personally responsible for all of them, which is great news, because now they are finally done to the degree where you can just take them and use them, because each of them has this very detailed description of features that we support. For example, like this is so the features are well listed, and those features could be referred to, used, and and we also provide support for each extension now. So if you purchase them with a yearly subscription, which includes fixes from our team. This means bugs, this means something else, like your requests of migration to specific Magento versions, ScandiPWA versions, etc. So again, a great improvement to ScandiPWA ecosystem, which I'm very happy to announce. And now also the marketplace comes with the Composer registry and NPM registry, and this enables users to finally properly install their extensions from the marketplace while having the possibility to upgrade over time. So this is great news. This is finally done. So very happy to see it working. And over the last week, we have added 4 new extensions to our collection, which includes Cleric.io, which includes Yotpo, Page Builder, and Social Login. So now 4 of these extensions are published and tested. And this is super cool news. And you can you can read their description to find more about which exact features do they support and which are not supported. What else do we have? Yeah, we have a TypeScript server update, which I'm working on in the background. Oops, sorry, that's Attack on Titan series, which I'm currently watching. So here is the plugin example. And here we got the plugin examples of here. So here's the index file, which has some declarations inside. And as I showed you previously, I had an opportunity to go through the methods back and forth, like following the namespace and looking for plugins for this namespace, or taking a look at specific methods and going back to them. Now we also support this arrow functions. So if I click on arrow function, which is actually a member property of a class, we now are automatically directed to member function declaration, which is amazing. And you can also see some warnings here that B method is not declared, or for example that the namespace is not declared. We still have some problems with like amount of generated warnings, but still this is cool stuff, I would say. And this means extension development in the future will be much smoother than it is right now. And also I have implemented the caching mechanism. So now the application utilizes caches to keep track of the changed files and regenerate the cache on file change. And this means the initial indexing will take time, but later on it will be as fast as it can be. So these are the updates from TypeScript server perspective. And I think we can wrap up our today's demo on that. So thank you everyone for participating. Thank you everyone for joining in. And we'll see you next week. So bye. See you soon.